Hey, Corey. Okay. Okay, I will call the meeting to order at 5:15. Thank you all for being here. I'll do the roll call. Geronimo,
Here.
Michael,
Here.
Sir Watt.
Here.
Okay, and Miles is here. And I'll just note that Tuan is not here at this moment. And I believe won't be here tonight. Okay, we'll move to the approval of the agenda. You have the agenda in front of you. I will take a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion. Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, that passes, goes 4-0. We can move on. All right, so we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance now. So we have a flag here, and if I can have you stand if you're able, and right hand over heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Okay, so public comment is next. Can we check and see if we have public comment? Do we have public comment here? I think your microphone's not working, but okay, great. And do we have a card for him? Do we have a card for you, sir? Okay, we'll get it for you
Yes.
after you speak, okay?
Okay, so let me just check on the other, so we have only one public comment here in person. But I'm gonna check on the other sites,
Great.
school sites. Vista Charter Middle School, are there any public comments?
No public comment.
Vista Horizon Global Academy, are there any public comments?
No public comments.
Palm Lane Global Academy, are there any public comments?
No public comments.
Vista Meridian Global Academy, are there any public comments?
No public comments.
We're gonna do you right now. We're doing the other sites and then we'll come right back to it. It's okay.
Vista Lago Global Academy, are there any public comments?
No public comments.
That concludes the public
That
comments.
public comment section. And then
We're gonna-
and if you'd like to come up to the podium, and so we'll have you do public comment. And just a reminder for everyone that the board's not able to comment directly on your public comments. We will listen and hear what you have to say. And then if staff has some follow-up to do, or if we need to put it on the agenda in the future, we'll go ahead and look at that. And we try to target about 3 minutes per session, I think, or per public comment, okay? And if you can start, since we don't have a card for you, what we'll do is have you speak, and then after, if you can fill, she has a piece of paper, you can just fill out your name so we have it for our records. And if you would start with your names, your name, that would be really helpful. Although I think we saw you maybe once before. So,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for coming back.
thank you. Hi again, my name is Ricardo Vasquez, and the first thing that I can say is thank you for all what you do, because I mean you are doing a great job. I think everything is good. I like the school. My kids are. I have a daughter in 9th grade now, and 2 more kids are coming if we are still agree with the school with everything. So 2 more coming. Thank you for everything. Just my comment or a question is, I came the last meeting and just to ask you if Meridian is looking for a building for our school for Meridian, and the comment is just if you have some information about that, or again, I can ask you if you can put that point in the next meeting, and the agenda next meeting, please. And I can say I can bring more parents just to speak what is important for us to have a building, because a lot of students are like a waggling for transports and many issues just because we don't have our own building, and for the staff too, because I was speaking with some teachers that are interested to have the building, because that is I think is a important point. We have a great teachers, great staff in Meridian, and in the future if they have if they want to change the job for another school or something, I think it's important to put in the curriculum that, you know, the Meridian has a building. It's not wagoning like a changing address every year or every 2 years. So I know my English is not very well, but I hope you understand everything because my first language is Spanish. And just I am a parent interested to have a good school. I like to see when something is growing up, like a Meridian just started 5 years ago, and I like how it's growing up. But yeah, whatever I can do for help to get a new building, that's the important thing. I am here. So and I will be here if you have a meeting every week. I am here. So
Great.
thank you for here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for speaking, and your English was great, but if you ever feel like you want to speak in Spanish, we can translate to the board who doesn't, if we don't get it. So let us know in the future, but we really appreciate you being here tonight, and thank you for your public
Yeah.
comment.
I mean, I can. Yeah, sometimes I prefer to speak Spanish, but in my own like I try to speak English to learn more. And my voice is not good now because I am a little sick. So, but yeah, I prefer to speak English, and I think for me is another thing that I can growing up in my English, growing up in my own personality. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, and then just if we can make sure the communication flow is going to him, and then maybe report back to the board through email what, how things are going. I know there's been some conversations that have been going on. Okay. All right, no further public comment. Now we'll move on to the consent items. You have in front of you 2.1, 2.2. Thank you. I'm trying to flip my page, 2.3. So I will take a motion on the consent items.
I motion that.
Thank you, Geronimo. I have a second.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Are there any questions on the consent items? Okay, we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes 4-0. And that gets us to 3.1, the superintendent's report. So Dr. Felch.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. We are going to start the superintendent report on a relatively somber note. I regret to inform everyone that this past week, we did lose a member of the Vista family. We were informed that one of our 6th grade students at Vista Charter Middle School, Dices Machuca, did pass away. And so I would like a moment of silence in honor of Ms. Machuca. Thank you very much. On that note, I do want to give a thanks to Mr. Summer, Ms. Koima, the entire Vista Charter Middle School family, some of our counselors from Orange County who went up there to provide additional support this past week. It really shows the strength of the Vista family, of the community that we have, and really coming together during this very, very difficult time. So thank you again, Mr. Summer, for your leadership. All right, we are going to move on. It's not moving. All right, so for our Employee of the Month, our Certificate Employee of the Month, we are excited to recognize Ms. Jennifer Palmer from Vista Heritage. She is an 8th grade ELA and social studies teacher. And here is what a few of her colleagues have to say who nominated her. So first, Miss Jessup, who is another Heritage 8th grade teacher. She said, Jennifer Palmer is the kindest, most caring, supportive, and loving teacher I've ever known. Jen cares about her students more than most can even comprehend by showing them what it looks like to be a caring, compassionate, and overall good person. I am lucky to have Jen on my team and in my life. She is a legacy teacher that students will never forget and a coworker that everyone will miss working when she retires one day. One of her other colleagues, Mr. Sapkota from Heritage, also said, she has been actively and effectively managing the end of the year project instructions for the 8th grade and has been supportive in explaining them to a new teacher like me. So she was unable to make it here this evening. She's actually taking a class. But we are very excited to recognize Ms. Palmer, and we will make sure that this gets to her. For our classified employee of the month, we are excited to recognize Mr. Hector Herrera. He is the custodian at Vista Lago in Lake Elsinore. And here are some words that Ms. Salazar, Vista Lago's counselor, had to say. Hector always goes out of his way to support the students and teachers. He has donated personal resources like water and a generator to help when needed. And I can say for a brand new school, just going through so many different things, just being able to not only donate his time and his resources, but whenever I'm there, he always just wants to help in any way possible. And so he also was unable to be here today, but thank you, Mr. Herrera, for everything that you do for Vista Lago. And for our parent or supporter of the month, we're going to go to Palm Lane and are excited to recognize Michelle Sardina. I don't think she made it here. Here are some words that her child's teacher, Miss Amezcua, had to say. Michelle has been very supportive during all the school events. She has gone out of her way for spirit days and in any class activities we've had. An example is the holiday sled she decorated for Kian and let us borrow for the songs of the season. She woke up at 5 a.m. one of the spirit days to paint Kian's face and get him ready. She was always present during all of the school performances. From what her son Kian has told her, she works many hours while also prioritizing time for her son. Sometimes on her breaks, she comes home to help Kian get ready for school. He is always talking about the cool and educational trips they take during the school breaks and on weekends. She is always one of the first ones to interact with Miss Amezcua's communication announcements and always offers a lending hand. So thank you and congratulations to Miss Sardina. And we have a special board recognition for one of our incredible Vista Meridian 12th grade students, Miss Grace Calleja. And we're thrilled to honor her. She has accomplished many things during her time at Meridian. And I actually remember her during her time when she was a student at Heritage in middle school. And so I'm just going to share some of the accomplishments that have come recently. And so overall, she has taken and passed 9 college classes, and she has been accepted to the following universities: Chico State, Cal State Fullerton, University of Redlands, with pretty close to a full scholarship to University of Redlands, Chapman University, also with pretty much a full scholarship, Santa Barbara, UC Riverside, Long Beach, and Barry University. So Grace, congratulations. Just incredible things that you have been able to do, and you just make Vista and myself so proud of you, and we can't wait to see what you do moving forward. So at this time, I'd like to invite the board up so we can take a picture with Grace. And then All right. So now, as we proceed with the superintendent's report, the focus is always on expecting excellence at every single school, every single level within the organization through our strategic plan. And really, the motto in our strategic plan is getting amped. And that's an acronym that stands for accelerating learning, moving as one, and paving the path. And so as we focus on the first priority, highlighting a few things at our schools and how we're accelerating learning. And the first one is with the Litera tutoring that Vista Horizon is doing after school. And this is, Horizon's really making the most of the high impact tutoring through Litera with support of staff and parents. Students are really starting to make some significant growth, and we're really excited to see where this continues to go. This is still in its early stages. We're in, I think, month 3 of the program, and we're already starting to see impacts from it. And so I want to thank Mr. Benavides for his leadership in really making this happen and making sure that staff, students, and parents are all on board, because this is really important for not only for Horizon, but really for the students and their growth. I would also like to highlight how we saw Vista Lago and the students at Lago accelerating learning. We just had our first ever oversight visit with the Riverside County Office of Education, and I think it went very, very well. We walked every single classroom at Vista Lago and saw some really great instruction going on in all of the classes. Would love to highlight just how, especially with Vista Lago being a small school, a number of the teachers have to teach multiple grade levels, and really seeing how they're able to differentiate the instruction for the different grade levels at the same time is just really great to see, because it's something that due to the circumstances with the school that we are forced to do, but the teachers are really stepping up to the challenge. We'll also want to highlight the work in terms of preparing for the student-led conferences. I know that many of our schools this week are doing student-led conferences. We saw that in action in multiple classrooms at Vista Lago last week. And we're very excited to continue the fruitful partnership with RCOE for years to come. As we go on to the second priority in the strategic plan, moving as one. One way that we moved as one this past week was with our first ever Vista Elementary basketball tournament. And so we hosted it right here at Vista Condora's gym. It included Vista Lago coming all the way from Lake Elsinore, Palm Lane coming from Anaheim, and I think one or two other schools. And it was just great to see and hear about all of the elementary students coming together and just competing in this tournament. And really want to give a shout out to Mr. Jimenez, our athletic director, for making this happen, and for Mr. Sanchez, our transportation coordinator, making it possible for our students from Palm Lane and Vista Lago to be able to make it here. One other thing that I would like to highlight is our magnificent band program at Vista Charter Middle School. This past weekend, they participated in the Southern California School Band and Orchestra Association Festival. And this is an award-winning band. So I want to say that I'm surprised, but at the same time, they are just incredible. So anything that they achieve doesn't necessarily surprise me. This past weekend, they received 4 superior ratings, which is the highest possible rating. And the host of the festival shared that he thought the Vista Charter Middle School Band was the best middle school band at that entire festival. And for a moment, when he was watching and listening to them, he thought that they might have been a high school band just by listening to them. So definitely want to shout out Mr. Raven, Vista Charter Middle School's music teacher. If you are ever in LA and visiting Vista Charter Middle School, please go and see Mr. Raven teaching one of his class. It is a sight to see and witness. He is just an incredible teacher and just an incredible person. And he obviously gets the most out of our middle school band students. And our final strategic plan priority is paving the path. And so we are very excited, and I'm going to be very brief on this because I don't want to steal Miss Alessandro's thunder. She's going to present a little more on this in the principal report. But just so thrilled that Condor received a unanimous 5-0 vote from the Orange County Board of Education a few weeks ago, approving the renewal for Vista Condor for 5 more years. And just want to highlight Miss Alessandro's leadership and Miss Balamon's leadership at Condor. And I'll leave it at that so Miss Alessandro can go deeper into it. And lastly, as we focus on paving the path, want to highlight Vista Lago again. The month of March is Women's History Month, and Dr. Creo and her team held the first ever Vista Lago Girls Conference, and it gathered the ladies of Lago together to uplift the future female leaders, and the girls really walked away happy, inspired, and just full. And hats off to Dr. Creo for this vision and for making it happen. And I believe that is the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. Phelps.
Yep.
Okay, any comments, questions on the superintendent's report? Okay, thank you very much. All right, we'll move on to 3.2, the principal's report. And I know tonight we have Ms. Alessandro.
My name is Roxanne Alessandro, and I am the proud principal of Vista Condor and Vista Heritage Global Academy. Let me just share my screen real quick. And I am excited to share our principal's report with you tonight. As Dr. Felch mentioned, Mario. Sorry. We practiced and then it still didn't work. For sound. Mm-hmm. That's an ad. That's not mine. Why don't we do this? You just share it and we'll go with yours. Mm-hmm. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I'm going to stop sharing because Mario will share from the main. I do need this. Okay. Let me know when we're ready, Mario. There we go. Okay, here we are, March 2026. We always start with enrollment and ADA. Condor continues to soar with our enrollment. We are now at 377. We're continuing to get students like weekly enrolling, and some families who come looking for a place to enroll for next school year and then say, I want to enroll now, and are starting now in March. So it's a beautiful thing. Our ADA is at 93% with, we're coming out of winter and colds and that season. For Heritage, we are down 1 student. Heritage enrollment continues to go up 1 student, down 1 student. back and forth. And also we've raised our ADA to 93% right now. So we're in a good place. As Dr. Felch mentioned, I'm going to focus this month on our Condor charter renewal because it's a big deal. We worked really hard and were able to get a unanimous decision of renewal with no conditions. And that's really important. And I keep forgetting to mention that this is Condor's first charter renewal, which is also a big deal. And so I'm going to read just a little bit because I want to make sure to cover all of this important information. So on March 4th, we received our renewal. This decision is a powerful affirmation that Condor is a thriving, high-performing school committed to academic excellence, student growth, and innovation. It reflects not only strong outcomes, but also the vibrant, positive culture that defines our campus each and every day. Condor is more than just a school. It's a community where students feel supported, inspired, and excited to learn. Oops, I'll just leave that there. From the moment you step onto our campus, there is a sense of energy, pride, and belonging that comes from the strong relationships between students, staff, and families. Our classrooms are filled with curiosity, collaboration, and a shared commitment to doing our best. A key part of what makes Condor so special is the wide range of programs and opportunities available to our students. Whether it's hands-on learning experience, innovative electives, leadership opportunities, the arts, athletics, or specialized programs, our students are given meaningful ways to explore their interests, build real-world skills, and discover their passions. These programs enrich the student experience and help our learners for success far beyond the classroom. This renewal is a testament to the collective effort of our entire school community. And I'm going to read that one more time. This renewal is a testament to the collective efforts of our entire school community. It recognizes the dedication of our teachers and staff, the enthusiasm and perseverance of our students, and the unwavering support of our families. We are incredibly proud of this accomplishment and grateful to be part of such a dynamic and inspiring school. The future of Condor is bright, and we look forward to continuing to grow, innovate, and provide exceptional opportunities for all students. And now I want to share some pictures and video that really exemplifies some of the great things that are happening at Condor. This first slide shows pictures of us at the renewal board meeting at OCDE. So we had one of our 5th grade students from leadership speak and do an amazing job in a room packed full of adults and adult educators, which is not an easy crowd to speak to. Dr. Felch wowing the crowd, and our parents and supporters joining us at the meeting. Some of the things that I mentioned that make Condor the great place that it is, that first picture of the kids in the yellow shirts are part of our Brazilian dance program as we live the Vista Global Academy's title. And some more pictures of our elementary basketball tournament, which the kids were so excited, not just to be playing in the tournament, but the kids made posters and they're cheering on their friends. And it was really a beautiful, beautiful event. You see here some of these special programs where we bring learning to life at Condor. We had, I forget the name of the farm, but they brought some of their farm animals. The kids got to pet and really experience in person. Buddies, 5th grade and kindergarten working together. Lots of learning happening in the classroom. And this last picture on the bottom right is one of my favorite. One of our students, Logan, in 1st grade, as they were celebrating Space Week, and he had his very cool NASA jacket on and really was enjoying the whole week of learning. I was hoping to show you these videos, but the technology wasn't working. Some other great programs that we have on the left, our after-school karate program, and our kids they have just barely started this semester and they're doing an awesome job in karate and a really cute video of the kids doing Brazilian dance, but I'll have to send that to you another way. So, you know, the other thing is that these pictures that I shared with you, these are things that just happened in March. Like we have a gazillion other things going on, but I wasn't going to take up the whole evening showing you all those photos. I want to wrap up my principal's report with an announcement. I know that you've been already notified about this, but I do want to let everyone know that this is my 32nd year as a professional educator. Yes. And I have decided that I am going to retire at the end of the school year. And I'm very excited about this retirement. I'm excited to end on a high note. Being the principal of Vista, Condor, and Heritage is an honor. I think I have learned more in the 4 years that I've been with Vista than in my entire career. I've watched the school grow in programs and in staff and enrollment and all of the wonderful things that are happening there. And I know that that's going to continue. I want to assure you that I'm doing everything to ensure a positive and smooth transition. We have begun the hiring process for my replacement, and we have some great candidates that we're looking forward to interviewing. And I will work with whoever takes on the principalship at Condor and Heritage and ensure that they have what they need to be successful as they take that on. And so I'd like to thank you again for the opportunity really to be the principal at Vista, Condor and Heritage and all that I have gained from that. And although I'm retiring and won't continue as official member of the Vista staff, I will always be a Vista supporter, and you can count on me in any way that I can to come and support the schools. So thank you very much.
Okay, but before you escape from us. No, just more comments and questions. First, I want to congratulate you on the renewal and all the work that associated with the organization and for all the work you did to get there. We never take those for granted. They're a great time for rebirth and celebration. And so thank you for that. And I think it was, I was happy and lucky to be there to see the vote and to see the trust and faith that the Orange County Board of Education and the staff put into you all. And, suspended some of the things that you're working on, but they said that they trust that you will take care of them and that they will continue to work on them. So thank you for that. I also wanted to congratulate you for your celebration of your upcoming retirement. I know we'll have plenty of time to honor your career and your impact here, but I don't want it to miss the formal announcement moment to say thank you for all that you've done for Vista and for Vista Condor and Heritage specifically. So thank you for the report and all the great information. And then I'll let the other board members, if anybody has something they'd like to add, and then we can talk about the rest of the principal's reports. But thank you very much. I know it's, I can see the smile on your face. Your colleagues might be a little bit jealous, but
it's bittersweet. I will say that. I mean, it's an exciting time, but my heart is with Vista.
I can see the smile for the happiness and the sincerity of the heart too. So thank you. Okay. Any other board comments on the principal's report for
I
Condor
just
Heritage?
wanted to say congratulations and looking forward to your future second career.
Yes.
What do you decide to do? Yes.
I can go. It was bittersweet to get that notification, but I'm so grateful that you took the chance to share it with us, because just to hear it in your voice and feel it of just the pride of, finishing on a high note. But if anybody deserves an exciting celebratory retirement, it's you. And I'll just echo, though, you're one of the first schools that I had the privilege to come visit, and what you share at the today, just with the joy and the pictures, that's really felt on her campus. And so Just super grateful for you and super happy for you. And thank you so much for all your time here, even though I've only been here a little bit of time. But it was really felt because I really felt welcome by being on your campus and really showing us what's possible. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Congratulations for your retirement.
Thank you.
So where are you gonna do the first thing? Where are you gonna go?
I'm still working on that, but I'll keep you posted.
Okay. Congratulations for everything you have done with Vista. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. So just other comments on the principal's reports. I know we're only focused on one today, but again, I think I say this every meeting, but I don't want to forget it because those principal's reports are really valuable to me. I will use one example today because I could draw from all of them, but I so appreciate, Debbie, your pot of gold. You know how my attendance thing is on my brain all the time. But the success you're having with that and the idea of putting coins together so that folks are kind of feeling that and enjoying it and engaging in a positive way. So those kinds of ideas. And, I'm thrilled that we're over the winter months because I can already see the attendance rates starting to climb back up to where they are. And I know we're headed out on spring break. But anyway, I saw that. I hadn't heard that you were doing that. And so to see it in the principal's report was really nice to see. And I'm glad we're sharing those with our colleagues so that we can keep pushing on those efforts. Okay, any other principal report comments, questions?
Well, I was going to wait for the board comments, but if we're doing it now, I again echo what you shared, and I just want to put some highlights in recognition to what people had shared, because I don't know if you guys read those reports together, but some highlights that I saw that just kind of share how special this organization is. Like, I work in education, and people are doing a lot with less, and I think this organization is somewhere that is really intentional and is going above and beyond. So at, Vista Charter Middle School, the staff council, the plates of positivity, right? Like taking care of your staff to recognize each other. Palm Lane, you really highlighted the recruitment efforts, but also the spring break enrichment week. I'd never even thought about that as something, but how powerful that is, especially with the demand that you're seeing. And then Meridian, like taking students to the beach, water samples, women in STEM. And then you had like the children's hospital come and do a stress PD for your staff, which is just like so important to take care of your staff. Lago, right? The one school that's just like continuously growing in enrollment in their first year, like that's huge. And so congratulations, and also doing, I'm a basketball fan, but like the college awareness March Madness week, which is just like super strategic and smart. And then like the first ever girls conference. And then Horizon, you talked about how you hosted the principals on site, and the really small group personalized instruction in math and ELA, with also your parent workshops. You can see the joy in their faces in the picture, but also your attendance is super high, which speaks to your strong community and commitment. And then we definitely heard from Condor and Heritage. So just, again, I was going to save that maybe to the end, but since we're talking about it, just want to highlight, thank you all for taking the time to share that with us, because it's one thing to do it, then you got to take time to talk about it. But I just want you to know it's something that really shines through with your commitment.
Thanks for that. Sarawat, anything? Good. Okay. Okay, that moves us on to 3.3 and Arturo from Icon. Oh, the most stimulating part.
Thanks, Enoch. Oh, yeah. Definitely the most stimulating. All right, good evening, everyone. Today, we're going to be talking primarily about the second interims for the Orange County and Riverside County schools, as we cover the LA schools at the last board meeting. Starting off, we're going to talk about Vista Heritage. And so Vista Heritage, we did update the ADA. So we projected out based off of the 6-month trend. And so it did end up lowering it by about 6.7 ADA points. The fortunate thing for Vista Heritage is that Santa Ana Unified's unduplicated pupil percentage came in higher than what we had budgeted. So we generally use a 3-year average for the district. And since Vista Heritage, Condor, Meridian are all part of Santa Ana, since your UPP is so high, your funding kind of gets adjusted with wherever the district ends up at, because you're capped at their UPP. So the 3-year average we had was about 85%, and after their submission at Fall 1, they're at 90%. So you were able to get additional 5 points of UPP. So although the Heritage dropped, almost 788 points. You actually went up slightly in LCF at about $17,000. So helped offset the loss in ADA. On the federal side, had some adjustments to title, moved a little bit of federal reimbursement from school lunch program to state. On the state side, you see the big increases. That's the student support and professional development grant that came in that's going to be able to utilize over the next couple of years, as well as the K-12, which we've talked about in the past. And local revenue is just a minor adjustment, so an increase about $3,000. Overall, revenues went up about $303,000, but the majority of that, as you notice, is the student support and the K-12, which is going to get used not just this year, but over the next couple of years. So that's going to be kind of restrictive funds. On the expenditure side, we had minor adjustments on the staffing. A teacher resigned that got converted to a sub, so we lowered that out and moved that over to the 5,000 series. Slight increases in textbooks, and then they had a security system upgrade. They were at the end of their time frame, so they did a renewal for this year. So that got added both in the 4,000 and the 5,000 series. The big increase for Heritage, and you'll see the same thing over at Condor, which we were surprised about, is we were told that the property tax exemption was in place, but unfortunately, something was off, and so you were hit with your property taxes. I know this organization is still working through and hopefully getting that reimbursed, but we wanted to be conservative because we don't know when that'll be reimbursed or if it will. So we had to add that property tax increase. So for each Heritage and Condor is about $160,000. So that's the big chunk from there. The other increases are subs and SPED. So SPED costs are higher than we were trending or budgeting before. So those went up about $45,000 as well, and subs about 50. So all those increases kind of offset that revenue growth. So on the overall picture, you're seeing a net income of just negative about 41,000. But you're unrestricted, and the reason that's negative is we're using a lot of your restricted funds earned over the last couple of years. Your unrestricted fund is still going to go up, but not as much as we expected at the first interim. So from 341,000 down to 125, and the majority of that is that property tax, 160, and then that increase in SPED and substitute teachers.
Can I just ask?
Yep.
Has that ever happened before where we thought we were going to get a property tax exemption and then we didn't?
Once before, and we had, well, I'll let you speak to it.
So we got it last year, and we thought we put the necessary steps into place to apply and then receive the property tax exemption in time for this year. I think getting caught up in the legal transition that we had, this kind of fell into that. We're still working on it, and so we're hoping that it will still get reimbursed and that we'll get exempt for this year and then for future years. But last year we did get hit with this, and right after that is when we put the wheels in motion to apply for exemption.
Got it.
So
Got it. I appreciate that because big chunk of money.
It's a huge
chunk of money. And yeah, but I appreciate the transparency and also planning for it without it, right? Not knowing it, but thanks.
So can I just follow up on that?
Yep.
So when you put Condor and Heritage together, what's the dollar amount on the property tax?
320,000
together? And then I know that's a one-time hit. I mean, is our success for the future locked in, or do we feel that we have security there? Or is it just this year we're worried about? Or are we worried about all the years in the future? Or do you know? Or can you say at this point?
Until we actually receive the exemption, it shouldn't be too difficult of a process. I mean, we get all of the facilities exempt. It's just we thought we were going to have this last facility exempt from property taxes, and it just didn't come through. And so I'm confident that in future years it will be, but until we actually get that exemption, I don't want to say 100%. Yeah.
No, I understand. Okay.
And Alyssa, if you want to comment on it, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to understand if we had a future worry. Okay.
Wait, I was going to be a follow-up question.
But you have to come to the mic.
Yes. I guess my question, Alyssa, is that, so we applied in time for next year, we actually applied in time for this year and just didn't get it?
So
You know what I
last year we have on file what we applied for fiscal year 24 to 25. And
Got it.
so then I applied just, I think the deadline was February 15th, and we applied just before that for fiscal year 25, 26. They require a site inspection, but they do those over the summer. So our attorney advised us to pay, and then we should be eligible to be reimbursed. As far as last year, I'm not sure how that reimbursement works, but for this year, we applied in time so that we will get reimbursed.
Got it. That's helpful knowing the
Yeah,
timeline.
but I went in
Appreciate that.
person. I have the stamped copy.
Thank you. That's good memory.
Is it an annual process?
You apply every year.
And so are we able in the future to apply earlier so that the site inspection is done, or is it?
That's
is this
when they
something
do
that
it.
we
Well,
might
the woman
run
at the
into
counter
later?
said that they do the inspections. I don't know if they expect every year, but because it's a new building, they'll require an inspection.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Our other sites don't get inspected, like the LA one, we applied and they just accept it. And that's
Understood.
it. Yeah.
I have a follow-up. So
Yes.
just these two schools or the other sites that are not gonna be? Like-
So we need to apply for the LA schools because we own those, the LA school and the LA office, and then those two schools in this office. So there, it goes by like the parcels. The other schools, we either lease or the district owns them, so we don't apply for that.
Perfect.
Yeah, thank you.
No, that's great. Thanks. Okay, thanks for letting us dive into that. Go ahead.
No problem. All right, looking next at Vista Condor. So Vista Condor, their ADA is actually trending a bit above what we budgeted at the first interim. So to be conservative, we kept the same ADA, so no changes there. But you do see that big increase in LCFF, and that's again based off of the fact that Santa Ana's UPP percentage increased. Federal revenues lowered a little bit, Fed nutrition, but it went into the state side. And then we talked about this a couple of weeks ago in terms of that big number on other state revenue is the literacy grant that the school received that they're able to utilize for the next several years. Same thing again, the student support and professional development, and then the learning recovery and emergency block grant, additional payment out. So the big piece of that is the literacy grant, which is over $557,000. Again, these are all restricted funds, and you can be utilizing them over the next few years. We did lower other local revenues based on the current interest trend that Vista Condor was receiving. No changes to certificated salaries on the expenditure side. We did add 2 literacy TAs that are being funded by the literacy grant. And so that led to some adjustments on the benefits, as well as some healthcare on some newer staff members was higher than budgeted earlier. So they got an increase there. On the 4000 series, an increase in textbooks, the same security system I talked about with Heritage. And then they purchased laptops for the after school program. So that's coming out of ELOP, which will be covered by restricted funds from ELOP from prior years. And then on the 5000 series, the big chunk of that again is a property tax, the 160, and then an increase in subs and a small increase for SPED, but it's small enough that I didn't want to kind of highlight it. Overall, very positive net income. Majority of that, again, it's going to be a good portion of that's going to be the literacy grant. But your unrestricted net fund balance is actually pretty positive at 412. It is less than the 566 we had at first interim, but that's pretty much that property tax that lowered that. Palm Lane, we did lower the ADA for Palm Lane based on the trend, so almost 988 points. That did lead to a reduction in LCFF about $121,000. Federal was pretty much the same, some minor adjustments on title apportionments. In the state, we had a small increase for the learning recovery, and then their interest has been a little bit higher, so we increased that a small amount. On the expenditure side, pretty much what we had planned for the first interim, a little bit of increase in textbooks, and really was on consumables that can hit this year versus kind of spread over a 3-year plan for the other textbooks, and a small increase in SPED, but kind of got offset by the fact that you have lower LCFF, so your district, your district fees and your CMO fees kind of offset the slight increase in SPED. Overall, so net income still in the negative, but your unrestricted fund balance is still going to grow by about $109,000 at the end of the year. Vista Meridian. So Vista Meridian also had a deduction in ADA about, almost 6 points, 5.6. I do want to point out that we're not including any of the possible attendance recovery ADA in this number, in this projection. So any thing that you're able to capture from that is just going to be on top of this. So it will help offset some of these losses. The increase in San Antonio UPP helped offset some of the loss, but still LCFF was down about $18,000. Federal revenue, more of a transition again from the federal nutrition reimbursement to state nutrition. And then some other areas were offset a bit because of the lower ADA. On the expenditure side, we kept it pretty similar, small increase on certificated salaries, and that led to a small increase in employee benefits. We did look to see where we can find some savings, and we found savings in athletics, as well as small and custodial and on capitalized equipment. But we did see some big increases. Some of this is covered by grants. So there was a big increase in field trips, about $56,000, but that's all covered by grant funding. And so that's going to be okay. But then there were big increases in substitutes and SPED, which is the majority of that increase there. So unfortunately, it is another reduction for Meridian. They were projected negative unrestricted fund balance, and that went up again by about another $90,000, $100,000. So hopefully some of the attendance recovery will help offset that portion. Next is Vista Lago. So their enrollment's been growing, and their projection is actually to be possibly slightly above what we projected our first interim. So we projected just under 92 ADA. We think there'd be around 92 to 94 ADA, but we kept it at 92. So Lago's UPP dropped by one individual from what I had at the first interim. So it went from 66% to 65%. And that 1% difference, unfortunately, did reduce your LCFF by about $8,500. Similar trend with the nutrition, more from the state versus the federal, so I had to lower the federal. They received their middle high grants, so that's an increase you see for state, although that's going to get utilized over the next couple of years, and it's also part of their consortium there. On the expenditure side, so we do continue to see some increased expenditures. One was an additional teacher for that increased enrollment that they've seen. So for half a year of a teacher, that led to the additional in the employee benefits. Food costs have gone up, but that should hopefully offset with some of the reimbursement as you have higher students, more food, but also more reimbursement there. Water service costs continue to be pretty high, as well as SPED, and we did have to increase the advertising budget a bit. So that's that increase in the 77,000 series. So that additional expenditures does lead your net income from negative 724 to negative 760,000 for this fiscal year.
So can I pause you before we go to the outstanding checks? So, and when we talk about having net negative income, but then we have a positive unrestricted funds, that means we're going to be pulling from savings somewhere else?
You're pulling from your restricted funds from prior years. Yes.
Got it. And how long is that sustainable?
Well, so it depends on the restricted fund that you're utilizing. So a lot of those are one-time costs that you kind of save from prior years. Some restricted funds are limited to current year, like your title funding. So always make sure those get utilized in the current fiscal year. ELOP is good for 2 years. So you kind of have carryover, a little bit over a year. Okay. Some of the other ones, so like your newer ones, your student support and professional development, that's good for the next 3 years. Okay. So you have some time frame for it.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. So your outstanding checks, total amount over 50 days is just under $9,000. And then your February check register. Any other questions?
I'm super interested in still trying to wander through the Santa Ana unduplicated count increase and the implications that that'll have to us go forward. Understanding that it's an upside for us, but it's either a pretty large turn in the community to a higher poverty community, or Santa Ana is doing a better job of capturing the data they need to capture to come up with their unduplicated count. And so I have a lot of wonderings there, and I know we're not always focused on what's happening over at Santa Ana Unified, but I think it would behoove us to be looking at that, because that implications could come downhill to us. I don't think we've seen, we already were capturing very high unduplicated. If we were measured like a district, we would have been paid more because we would have had an unduplicated count that's higher than the districts. But I understand why the LCFF is figured that way. And I just put that out there publicly because I think we need to start thinking about what that looks like. That 5% is large.
So
Seems like a large increase to me.
that's an increase based off of the 3-year average we were utilizing.
Okay.
They actually increased about 2.5% from last year.
Okay,
So the last couple of years, they've slowly gone up.
okay. But it's still an indicator that the
Yeah,
community
they're
in
trending
Santa
up.
Ana is trending in a higher poverty way. Okay. Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Arturo, sorry, I got one more question. It's kind of point to Colin. So is it fair to say that the vast majority of the reasons why we're in the negative is because of projected ADA and enrollment being higher? Like in general?
It depends on the school. So
Okay.
a lot of the like for instance, like Heritage, it's because you are utilizing prior funds.
Mhm.
You do have enough balance to help cover that and still be in the positive. But you're using all these restricted funds, so your P&L for this year is not showing any revenue because it's revenue you received before. So that's kind of where it's offset, especially for Condor. And it's also, making sure you meet your requirements for your bond. It's also what's kind of tightening you up a bit because even though it's revenue from prior years, since they're not seeing it now, you still got to show that overall number, which makes it a little tough.
Got it. And when do we start talking about budgets for next year?
So we've started. So I'm actually working with principals to kind of start their staffing for next year. Dr. Felch has let out the new enrollment projections to utilize for budgeting versus for goals, and they are definitely more conservative. We've taken your feedback into account. A couple of schools' enrollment projections are actually below what the current enrollment is, so definitely be a little tighter on the budgeting side.
Got it.
And
yeah.
Sorry, did I interrupt?
No, I just when would we get to know about that, or when is appropriate?
Well, we're working on it right now. The final budget will be approved at the June board meeting. But
We'll have
we're working on, and we're pretty much waiting for the May revision because we want to see what's coming from the state before we really get closer to finalizing the budget. But we'll definitely, probably May and definitely June will be.
You'll see a draft in May.
So just from a perspective of what we see, what would be at least helpful to me is the budget I know moves based on what the governor's proposal and the state budget's final is. I get that. The number moves. We have no control over that number. But the number I know that we talk about a lot is what our enrollment, like commitments are, like, and how real those are and up and down. And I heard you talk about it, which is great. That it sounds like we're being a lot more conservative. But it would be good for us as the board to see those numbers are more real to me. And I see some of that in the reporting that we get from the principals. I think I saw something for Lago and I saw something for Horizon about what it looks like. But it's hard for me to understand if those commitments are, how firm those commitments of enrollment are, what the carryover is. And so if we could look at those numbers at some point in that same time period, it'd be helpful.
Yeah, and I plan at the next meeting to be bringing those numbers, the budgetary enrollment numbers and the progress that we're currently at towards those enrollment numbers and hopefully exceeding those numbers by August.
Yeah, that's super helpful. And I think for the board, it would be, if it's at all possible, to show us what our enrollment numbers were last year when we, just in terms of, there's a little bit of that attrition that you get every year in terms of the commitments that you have, but just knowing where we're at and that projection, any year over year would be helpful. I feel like for us to be approving and looking at anything based upon our past experiences.
And just to follow up on that, but what I can see is the work that the principals are doing right now, and in a lot of our sites, I'm seeing students still enrolling, and so I know people are working at it. I know it's getting better in a lot of places, and so that's great. I know if we see those numbers and we get a sense of what their budgets were last year versus that. So we made the point. Okay.
Thank you, Arturo.
Thank you guys.
Thanks. Okay, moving on to, all right, so it's time for Corey. It's 3.4, Governing for Greatness by Dr. Corey Loomis. Thank you, Corey. Welcome back.
Thank you so much. Well, I finished my cycle of board presentations with this group, and I start this season of board presentations with this group. So I'm honored to be here. My name is Corey Loomis. I'm the director of the Charter School Unit at Riverside County Office of Education. I've been making visits with board and doing board presentations, I think, for about 6 or 7 years. I think it's super important to just give some reminders, but more importantly, some encouragement to charter boards. When I look for resources for charter boards specifically, they're somewhat limited in the state and across the country as well. So I always love to give encouragement and come out and share. So not the best quality picture, but yeah, we had a great visit last week. Appreciate the visit. It was very thorough, comprehensive, and we enjoyed our time there. The systems are in place and things are moving in the right direction. So we appreciate that visit. We have overlapping whys, and I think that's what's important. Our philosophy and approach to authorizing is different. So we tend to stay student focused, and we try to eliminate other things that might get in the way of us being focused on students and making the best decisions that we can collectively for students. So I think that's important for us to continue to be aligned and united with our students. This data is a little old, but it just speaks to reasons for school failure, something I shared last year. Most of the time, it has nothing to do with ill intent. Oftentimes, the number one reason is actually for money reasons and mismanagement. In managing resources appropriately. And so it's important, as I shared last year on kind of mitigating liability and risk, it's important to always keep an eye on that. So today I'm going to share 5 key domains of effectiveness of the governing board. Being aware of this board and listening today, they're just going to be reminders. I'll be brief with this slide deck. Another way to look at this, our drivers for success is another way to kind of look at kind of these 5. These are high leverage areas of the board really leans in, and these particular areas the school will be more successful. As I shared just earlier, the number one reason for charter school failure has to do with finances in some regards. I'm not going to read all the bullets, but those really pertain to all charter schools. And I think the moral obligation is obviously to our students, to our families, to the taxpayers as well. Remaining fiscally solvent is important. Monitoring cash flow versus budget. So being aware, as we have tonight in a previous presentation, on your real numbers, your live numbers, and not just your planning numbers. So those are the other key aspects of fiduciary oversight, which is super important. And just a brief note, when I put this slide deck together, as most things, it's a bell curve with our charter portfolio with newer startup schools and smaller schools. So I kind of have to speak to that middle when I'm putting together ideas and encouragement. The author-liaison relationship is important, and I know this board is aware of that. I know your staff is aware of that. The tighter our relationship is, the better it is for students. And it really, transparency builds maximum trust. So it's important to remain collaborative and accountable in relationships itself. I shared prior, as far as having knowledge, working knowledge, not expert knowledge around your petitions themselves, the MOU, performance metrics, all really important as well. Governance versus management, and I think this board understands this well. It's important not to get too involved in the operations of the school, micromanaging. Setting a pace, the vision, the direction of the school is really important. Overseeing the effectiveness of your superintendent and doing regular evaluations that are clear with metrics in that evaluation as well. Planning for leadership succession. I think that's important to always keep an eye on as well. Maybe you might have someone who's successful at the lottery, but thinking through the plans of a potential succession is important, and the transition itself, oftentimes schools fail because of that lack of planning for leadership. Compliance systems are important, and of course this board's well aware of. Brown Act really speaks kind of access to the board and public compliance to that. Political Reform Act really speaks to conflict of interest and transparency. Of course, being aware of those other aspects as well. Common risk and errors tend to be with boards around closed session errors, special education and attendance, compliance failures. Obviously, there could be negative outcomes to that. One thing I do notice a little bit with some of our schools, not this particular school, but making sure that there's firm complaint policies and procedures for parents to access and that they're easy to access. A lot of calls that we take from parents in our office, again, not with this particular network. We just help them essentially try to navigate the school systems, and sometimes they're not as clean or available or accessible to parents as they should be. Academic outcomes. So that's the big trade-off for charter schools is performance. And so that's important to be aware of, and that's great for a successful renewal. So you have that experience of kind of the new criteria for renewal and the tiered approach, high tier, middle tier, low tier, as I referred to the bell curve prior. Same thing with the middle tier authorizers, just so you're aware, they have to make a certain determination with schools that fall into the middle tier. Most schools fall into that tier. And so really what we're looking at, and we actually have 8 renewals that we're processing this year alone, just answering that question, have students grown, has performance grown over time? These are just issues with weaker performing boards. The boards that are passive don't ask the critical questions. Boards that tend to agree on a lot of things without having their own opinion. I think it's super important to have that robust conversation with boards, especially on key critical issues. The need for more structured agendas and dashboards, what's driving the metrics for performance is really important. And oftentimes boards don't have their eye on those type of metrics. Ongoing training is super critical, important for boards' effectiveness. As we talked about last year, kind of mitigating those gaps and those potential liability risks to the board. Do we have our eye on that? How do we determine what those gaps may or may not be? Strong boards at the end of the day, of course, prevent failure. So that was kind of the core of my reminders, and I'm just going to share some of the resources, and I do have another resource giveaway for you tonight. So I have the book, Governing for Greatness. I did steal that title from this particular book from Brian Carpenter's last year, fitting that we were on Queen Mary, that I shared Save Your Ship. So the same author, I think this was actually his first book that speaks to nonprofits. So I have this book for you for your leisure, to your professional development. And that was a book. I'm not going to spend much time on it. I did that last year, but just a key reminder of having appropriate systems in place to capture any and to mitigate risk as well, to identify it. And the cool idea that I thought that he created was a heat map. So identifying where the gaps are and having plans and systems in place to identify those gaps. Another resource that I've shared in the past, essentially, I always look for plug and play resources that are easier to use for busy boards. The distress indicators, so there's a particular tool just for chartering boards. That's a good tool. So all these have the live link to that resource. The group in California that has more robust resources would be the CSDC. Would also have a great area on their website for board resources and professional development. These are the things that are important to us, and we work with all of our charter schools, and they have an opportunity to lean in as we support charter schools in our portfolio. We have a data initiative essentially focused on data literacy, especially key to renewal, understanding what's important and how to tell the school's best story. We also have an ELD initiative, and then I continue to share this information with boards. A couple quick plugs here. We have some great superintendent's initiatives. And so the great thing about our superintendent's initiatives is that there's a lot of resources in each of those particular categories. I think the one that I want to highlight would be Literacy by 5. So in our county, Footsteps to Brilliance is available to any students in our county for free accounts. And if you click the QR code, there's other great resources that have been developed around each of those areas: mental health, foster youth, financial literacy, competitive edge. So that's what I have for you tonight. Again, I appreciate your time. I know that you're super busy, and I appreciate everything that you do for your students and your families.
Thanks, Dr. Questions from the board? Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, thank you for sharing all these resources, especially the one about the indicators of distress. That looks really interesting. Just for my clarification, one of the slides you were talking about management and governance, and you use the term executive director. And then, I see it's the superintendent being used. So is this the same, or is it
The
executive?
same. So it would be your lead position in some positions in our portfolio, and I should have adjusted it for this network. They have executive directors, and some other have superintendent positions. So your superintendent, your lead position.
Thank you.
I just thank you. I know you came to the board retreat last year, but I don't know did you happen to go to the CCSA conference?
I was
Did you
there.
present? Okay,
Yeah.
because I've attended thanks to the Vista, they invited me to go as a board member, and there was a lot that I
Oh, yeah.
learned, but I will just name the importance you'd shared that there's not a lot of resources out there. There's a lot of questions and a lot of demand. And so thank you for answering a lot of my questions and the resources, but also just appreciate the work you're doing.
Thank you.
And yeah, thank you for coming.
Yeah, and yeah, thank you for coming. I appreciate all of the information you continue to bring to us. I know Colin has shared, and we shared at when we were at the Queen Mary, that authorizing relationship is super important to us. And I saw it here again tonight. And we have four authorizers, right? With Anaheim, and then but it's really important, I think, to me and hopefully I think to the rest of the board as well, that if there's things that we can do to improve our relationship in Riverside County, since it's one of our newer authorizer relationships, that we continue to do that. Obviously, your connection is to Colin, and that happens, and the staff that's out there. But we appreciate any information you might have that you feel the need to share. We all have emails and love to hear anything that we can do to keep improving that relationship.
Absolutely. And one thing that might be a little different with Riverside County is that we're open to supporting all charter schools as far as our superintendent's perspective goes. So we're always looking at leverage points of where we could plug charter schools into the robust amount of resources that the county has to offer, and that's open to all charter schools. So we have a very kind of open relationship with charter schools in our county.
Thanks. Great.
Thank you.
And speaking of those resources, do you happen to have, and it might be in here, but I know when I was at CCSA, people talked about board members doing like self-evaluations about, their effectiveness and like kind of their preparedness to be a board member and execute. Do you have any resources like that? Have you seen anything?
The one resource that I shared has to deal with more kind of an organizational evaluation.
Got it.
But let me look.
Okay.
Yeah, let me
We'd
look.
be interested in looking at
Yeah,
that.
for sure. That would be good.
Yeah, and I do, just another comment on I saw CSTC's call out here, which I think is great. And I know we have a CSTC membership.
Mhm.
And just in case the board members didn't know, you can get an email and a password through Colin. I have one, and the resources on the CSTC website are pretty robust, like Dr. Loomis said. And so I would encourage you to take a look at that and see if we can get that out to board members, because I know we don't have a lot of time to do that, but there are a lot of great resources out there. So,
Okay, thank you.
okay, anything else for Dr. Loomis? All right, well, thank you for
Appreciate
making the ride from Riverside.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good night. All right, moving on now to the action items. We'll move on to 4.1, the personnel handbook, mini staff presentation.
No presentation. Last year we made a more major overhaul, but this year it's really more just cleaning up, providing some updates based on new laws or bills that have passed. And one example is SB 848, which expands or broadens the categories of school personnel to which child abuse and neglect reporting requirements. And so that's one example. We've worked with legal to make sure that our personnel handbook is up to date and legally compliant.
Great. Okay. So this is an item that is up for approval. So it's 4.1, and I'll take a motion.
Motion.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Questions and discussions?
Yes, I had a couple. I'm glad that we're aligning. I was always curious when I opened up the handbook and it said that, staff will go, they can receive this training for the updated training in terms of the mandated reporting and the child abuse. Does that come at a cost to the district when they set those guidelines in place?
The training itself does not,
Okay.
but the staff are compensated for taking the trainings.
And do you do that? Because it said within the first 6 weeks, either of the school year upon their hire. Do you do that for like, I don't know, our organization? I always feel frustrated because we always get the email like right when the first week of school starts. And then people are like, I'm trying to set my classroom up and I got like 12 hours of vector training. Is that kind of
No,
the way we do it?
so we send it right when people come back. It's kind of your welcome back email in a way.
Okay.
And we really ensure that all staff complete it before the first day of school.
I love it. I love it. Thanks.
So what, anything? Yeah, just it'd be nice to start to see some red lines on some of these things if that's possible in the future. But I'm thrilled we're gonna, continuing to update it. These are the most important documents that everybody reads, student handbook, personnel handbook, those are important. So thank you for all the work to get those updated. Okay.
I did have one last question because you talked about the PTO and if what I'm reading here and then when I looked at the handbook, I couldn't tell the difference because of the red lines, but the lack of the red lines. But is the only way that we're affecting PTO is just with the leave? Is there anything else?
That's correct.
carryover?
Yeah, that's the one change.
Okay, good.
Okay, seeing no other questions, we could take a vote for this. All in favor, aye.
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 Okay, that passes 4-0. No opposition. Okay. All right. All right, we're moving on to 4.2, which is the ratification of the interim budgets. We had Arturo did his presentation already tonight, and so I know there's no presentation for that. This is a ratification, which means that they've submitted it, which is on time, which is great. I'll take a motion in a second.
I motion.
Second. Sorry.
Okay, motion in a second. Any discussion, questions? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, I see 4-0. Okay, we're on to 4.3, extended learning opportunities, coordinator job description and salary schedule. Presentation.
Yeah, so we really saw this as an opportunity for our schools that receive ELOP funds. And so this position would help enhance our after school programs, align best practices to ensure better consistency from school to school. Right now, each school does kind of their own thing in terms of running their after school program and things like that. Our schools that receive ELOP funds have after-school coordinators at a school site, but this position will help better align those programs and ensure that we are, one, remaining in compliance with ELOP, and really, second, maximizing our programs, the use of our funds, and ensuring that we're in alignment with our ELOP plans.
Okay. I'll take a motion again.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. We're gonna get SWAT. I know we keep stopping her from seconding. We're gonna figure.
I can ask one question.
Sure, go ahead.
So is this a new position, right?
This would be a new position.
So what happens to the schools, the people who are schools, they're still staying?
They are still there. Yeah, this would be essentially a central position that supports each of the schools that receive ELOP funds.
Okay, other questions?
I have a comment, a question. I think it's an incredibly important position, and I have a couple clarifying questions before I probe. Because our schools are in different locations, I assume, do we partner with different after-school programs? Or is it the same?
Yes and no. So there are certain schools that run their own after school program. So like, for example, Vista Horizon in LA runs its own after school program. Many of our schools partner with Think Together as an after school program provider. And then some schools have supplemental after school programs, like with active education, that I'm sure you've heard about. So yes, there are some differences from school to school. And that's also where we can really share some best practices about what is working well. And frankly, some of the after school programs in certain schools that work with Think Together are running better than other schools that also work with Think Together too. And so I also think that there is some quality control that we could do with this position, and just make sure that, for example, Vista Charter Middle School has an amazing after school program. And I think that there's ways that we can take some learnings from that program to apply it here in Orange County, for example.
No, I love it. I think it's fabulous. I've been curious, have you partnered or learned from any other organizations that have a similar role as this, or is this something that you've decided upon your own?
We decided upon our own in terms of bringing this to the board. We just kind of saw this as a need, an opportunity, especially based on our funding, our growth and size as an organization, and just seeing what other similar sized organizations, both charter and districts, provide, and really saw this as,
I love it. I'll just say our own ELOP coordinator had a challenging first couple of years in terms of partnerships and norming and really figuring out how to like elevate programming. And so an offering to support with any of that thought process in terms of how do you think strategically through year 1, year 2, year 3 to try to make sure, because there's a lot of, we thought we were moving forward 2 steps backwards, et cetera. And there's a lot of partnerships that you have to manage, and not only partnerships with after school, with your families, your students, but also the school administration. And so having a clear vision on what your after school program should look like based upon, does it mirror your school programming? Is it something different? I just think that it's again, no hesitation, just naming that for the effectiveness, happy to collaborate and share any resources for that, as well as an offering as under part of their responsibilities, where it says establishes, like develops family facing communication materials. I think we one of the key things that we see all the time is like all these amazing programs that our schools are doing and they share with us, but how can we maybe leverage this person to be thinking about outward facing communication with the schools for telling their story to support with enrollment, et cetera. Just because, again, I love the idea of the role, really highlighting a lot of the programmings, but also to solve some of the issues that we're trying to solve in terms of making sure our voice gets out there. Want to just highlight that as well. But that's it for me.
Yeah, and I also, this position, we've talked a lot about sharing best practices and trying to come with a structure that, in this position is a natural for that. That makes me very excited to see what the potential is for us to gather and aggregate all that information and then come back and have the focus and the time for somebody to do that. How's this position funded?
It'll be directly funded from ELOP, and then it'll be split per ADA between the schools that receive ELOP funds.
Okay, and it'll essentially come out of the central office budget, or will it come out? Is it a central office?
It is a central office position. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Okay, great. Any other questions? Any other comments? You're good, John? Okay. All right. So, okay, take the vote. All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay. That passes 4-0. Thank you. All right. 4.4, the LCAP federal addendum for the Vista Lago School. Colin?
Yes, we're almost there in terms of accessing and receiving federal funds for Vista Lago. It's been a prolonged process, but this is really one of the last steps that we have to take in terms of essentially writing the plan, getting approved from the state in terms of how we will utilize the Title I, II, and III funds for, yeah, that's in the federal addendum.
Great. Okay, I'm looking for a motion.
A motion.
I second.
Okay, with a motion and a second, any discussion, questions?
No.
Who fills this out? Who writes this?
Yours truly.
All right.
Okay.
And do you have experience writing these? Is that why?
Just a few,
Okay.
just a few schools. Yeah.
Okay, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that passes 4-0. Moving on to 4.5, Vista Condor Charter Renewal Agreement with Orange County. I got you while you're drinking. Any presentation?
Yes, so this is the MOU, very similar language to how we had before with the Orange County Department of Education. Now that Condor has been renewed for the next 5 years, this is the MOU with OCDE.
Okay, I'll take a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. I have one, just so I know there was a lot of discussion at the board meeting, but the MOU virtually stayed the same. Okay, perfect. Any other questions, discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that passes 4-0. Moving on to the E-rate bid proposal. Mario?
And Mario is going to
Thank goodness.
share that.
So for the E-rate, so we have category 1 and category 2. So as you know, E-rate is what gives us federal funding discounts for network services. So internet is category 1. Category 2 is all our networking equipment. So for category 1, we just had we had 2 bids. One was Charter and one was AT&T. So we're recommending Charter because most of our schools have it. That one is to give Lago 1 gig of internet for $899. With the E-rate discount at 90%, we only pay $89 a month for that. So it's substantial. I wish we had it this year. It would have been great. Then category 2, we only got 1 bid for services. So that was network renewals for access points, switches, all that we need. So it's just licensing for that, some equipment, but it's stuff that we need in order to get the network going. At that rate, we have 85% discount with the category 2. So that's what that is. Any questions?
Before we do questions, why don't we look for a motion?
I motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Any questions? I have a question.
Yeah, I do too, but you go ahead.
So for the category 2, 1 bidder, is there any reason why there's only 1 bidder, or is there a way that we can in the future expand that?
Well, it's a whole process that we have E-rate consultants. They go through it and make sure everything is on board, everything's good. We had actually a few, like 5 companies interested, but they didn't bid on it. There was one company put some generic bid, but it wasn't really what we needed. And then the other company was just what is everything that we needed, what that we wanted. I guess we could always have asked for more bids, but our E-rate consultants already, they went out there and asked. There's a whole email process, and there was no bid on that.
And who do we use for our E-rate consultant?
We use the Miller
Learning Tech.
Learning Tech, yeah.
Learning Tech?
Yeah.
Okay. And do we have to renew with Learning Tech or do we have a contract?
Yes, so it's part of the renewals that we do every year.
Okay. Okay. Other questions, Michael?
So I tried to understand this stuff when I appreciated all the like documents, and on the whole, what I appreciate is that you're finding a way and taking the steps to try to get beds and that we're getting a discount, right? And so thank you. I was curious on this. I had the same question about, like, we only got 1 bid from 1, but it sounds like we did due diligence. We reached out. really only one organization came back. How comfortable do you feel with that bid?
I'm pretty comfortable.
Okay.
I've been doing this for many years, and
Yeah.
we see the same companies all the time. This company is pretty reputable.
Okay.
I think it was Gigacom. Um, Going back to everything, we were actually going to have to pay because we had expiring licenses back January, December, and January. But I was able to talk to our vendor Meraki, and they extended the licensing to June, July, so that way we could have the whole E-rate discount.
Oh, wow.
So this year we didn't have to pay about, I think we saved maybe $40,000 on that,
Wow.
and now we could just get the E-rate discount at that point.
They'll give you your flowers. Thank you. Right? Like, that's incredible,
But-
right?
But make
goes
sure
to our
that
students and
any
thank you.
schools that you guys hear of, they take advantage of the E-rate.
Okay.
I have a quick follow-up. Excellent to hear about the discounts for E-rate. How does the process work? Like, do you advertise the bidding, or how did you reach out to people? Yeah.
So it's a whole, they go on I believe it's the FCC websites, and there's 470s that get put out there for bids. And then all these vendors, they have to be, there's a certain, like they need a bin number, I think it's called, and then they could put bids onto E-rate projects. Once they attain that, they could go to these websites and then see all the bids, all the schools that have bids out there or RFPs, and then from there they just put the bid in. I don't know what turned people off this year from one company, I think it was Xerox. They asked a lot of questions and they just said they couldn't put it together on time. So yeah.
And then you sit around with the consultants to go through the bids.
Yeah,
See.
so I go through with the consultants. We set up a time, and they just go through all the process, and we look at the categories and rate all these companies with the categories, and we give them 4s, 5s, whatever the case may be, and then the winning bidder comes up.
Yeah, this again, it's little in the weeds for me, but when I pulled up the document regarding, shoot, the title of it was like the C2 bid package, and it shows Gigacom next to Citronet. When it says prior year requested, the difference looks pretty big. Like Gigacom, it's $7,187,401. And then the prior year committed is $6,243,418. And then, but when I looked at Citronet, the comparative numbers were like 266,000 and 70,000 kind of respectively. Can you just walk me through what those numbers mean?
So that means the amount of business, E-rate business that they had last year. So that means
I got it.
Gigacom got a bunch of projects that they worked on.
Got it.
Citronet, however, as I mentioned, they just give us a generic bid. Here's the services that we offer.
Got it.
But it's not necessarily what we need. So they didn't give us Meraki licenses. They just give us their generic marketing material.
Got it.
And then, so maybe a school needed something like that, so they went with them.
Got it. And I thought, so then going back to what you originally shared about our C1, how much will that cost? You said it was 819, but it'll go down to $80. What does that mean for internet? Is that monthly?
Yeah, so that's $899 a month. Once the discounts come in, though, we only pay 90%,
That's
10% of
yeah,
that.
That's great.
So yeah, $89, $90 a month.
And I couldn't find, and that's why I was kind of confused, I think, by those numbers. Then what will we pay for our C2?
C2, I think it was, well, we have 85% discount.
Yeah.
And I think it was like 132,000
Okay.
for C2.
Got it. With the discount or before?
Before discount.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
There are some stuff that's not eligible between that. For whatever reason, the government doesn't want to pay for content filtering, even though they require that. So stuff like that is not fully funded. But it's 132 around there total.
Okay. Well, I just want to echo, give you your flowers, right? Like, seriously though, for not only the due diligence, but also the money that you saved, right? For our schools and our students. and also for like walking me through this because I didn't know what I was looking at. So thank you. I'll have less questions next year.
Great. Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'll take the vote.
Motion.
Okay, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes? Okay. 4-0. All right. And thank you, Mario. We should, I'd clap for the pledge. Thank you. Let's go there. Okay, moving on to 4.7, the filing of the articles of organization for Vista Lago Charter LLC.
Yeah, so this is going to be the first of 3 action items related to the creation of the Vista Lago Charter LLC. You might have heard about the other LLCs that we've got for some of our other private sites, such as here, we've got the 2609 West 5th Street LLC. In LA, we've got the 2900 West Temple Street LLC. And so this is something that, as we were discussing the construction and the facility financing for the Vista Lago permanent site project, that it was recommended by both ICON as our back office as well as YMC for legal that we take care of this. YMC walked us through the process for this. This is really needed in large part because of SB 740 funding and so on. You might be asking, well, the other LLCs are based on addresses, and that's really just the name. We don't have an address for the Vista Lago site because it's still a parcel of land, so there is no address. But that's really just the naming of this. This specific action item is for the filing of the articles of organization for the LLC, though.
And it's for ratification.
It's a yes, yeah.
So it's been filed. Okay. Okay. Anything else? Okay. I'll look for a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and any questions, discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, that motion carries 4-0. Moving on to 4.8, which is a tangential, but go ahead.
Yeah, and so this is number 2. So this is the operating agreement for the LLC. Again, working with YMC on this, we modeled it after the operating agreements for the other 2 LLCs that we've got.
Okay, is there a motion?
My motion.
Thank you.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions, discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, that passes 4-0. Moving on to 4.9.
And this is number 3 of 3. So this specific action item, it's more of a procedural thing because we've been working with YMC to create this, and they actually, on our behalf, were the ones that filed this with the state. And so as a result, they, or whoever was the one that filed it, is the initial organizer. This action item is for that person to resign as the organizer, so that way I, on behalf of Vista, would become the primary agent of the LLC.
Great. Okay, I'll look for a motion.
My motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, questions?
Do we need a backup?
So what actually happens, and this is in all of the paperwork. So essentially, if I were to leave Vista or anything were to happen, the next superintendent would become the primary agent. And if there is an interim period, it would go to the assistant superintendent. So that is written down.
Awesome.
Okay. No more questions and discussion. Move for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that passes 4-0. All right, that concludes our action items. Thank you. We'll now move on to board comments. And why don't I start with Geronimo? Anything? Nothing tonight? Sir Watt, anything? Okay. Michael?
No, yes, I said no and then I started speaking. You guys have heard a lot from me. I really appreciate the presenters answering questions. there's a lot of material in here, and I think hopefully you'll have less questions the more that we ask, but just encourage the board and appreciate the thoughtfulness in the presentations and what's packaged. And also want to just recognize Colin. I think that you're doing a fabulous job recognizing the staff members of this organization, and it's been really special to see students the last couple. And so keep thinking about that. And as you guys wind down the year, right, keep thinking of yourselves to take care of yourselves. And also please reach out with opportunities to visit your sites. Thanks.
Yeah, I also want to echo that today I also learned a lot more. It's always, I look forward to the beginning of when we see the students, and that gets me really excited. So thank you, Colleen, for organizing all this and all the speakers. Thank you.
Okay, and I will just, I counted, what, 3.5 days until spring break? That's not probably important to anybody in the room. No, but it really, enjoy spring break. I know that the blitz when you come back is going to be just as significant as it is, but I know how hard everybody's working, so I hope you will get to relax, to not think about the school for at least 1 hour and maybe more than that. So thank you all for what you're doing, and I will close board comments, and we're going to go, as I always say, we're going to go to closed session. You're more than welcome to be here when we get back to close the meeting, but we figure that you probably have other things you might want to do. So feel free to leave. And then we'll come back from closed session and adjourn our full meeting. But again, thank you for the meeting tonight. So we'll stand adjourned and move to closed session, or not adjourned, but move to closed session. All right, I will bring us back into session at 8:08. And we will report out. There's nothing reportable out of closed session tonight. So we'll move on. And then I will look for a motion to move the adjournment of the meeting.
Motion.
Okay, thank you. Second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the meeting is adjourned at 8:08. Thank you.
All right. Night.
Okay.
Have a wonderful night. Bye.